Surface Pro. Does it deserve room in your backpack? Let's find out. This is yours truly, Tech Your Guy, coming at you once again, and today I want to talk to you about Surface Pro. Specifically today I'm talking about Surface Pro 6. Now I think they skipped a number along the way somewhere. I know they had the Surface Pro 4. Did they skip 5? Check me on that. Anyhow, so the Surface Pro 6 is the latest generation of Surface Pro tablet computer combination that Microsoft puts out, and this video is being shot on July 30th, 2019, so we are in the third quarter of 2019, and my question is whether this computer tablet hybrid combination, does this deserve room in your backpack, briefcase, whatever? So here's the deal. This computer, and it's maybe somewhat of an identity crisis. However, I think it's actually executed really well with the predominantly a tablet form factor, and then you attach the sold separately Surface type cover, then it becomes a full-fledged laptop whilst still maintaining portability. The display panel, which sports a 3:2 ratio screen, is absolutely stunning. The colors are vibrant and the touchscreen experience is just awesome. And just a real pleasure to be interfacing with all day long. So obviously you have a lot of options in terms of computers and ultra portable laptops in summer of 2019. You have the XPS line of computers, you have the Lenovo Yoga line of product, and then there's a whole bunch of computers from various manufacturers that will suit your need in terms of a computer that gives you all the power and portability at the same time. Of course, we're not talking about the gaming laptops here, which would be in a totally different classification. So Surface Pro, unlike its sibling, the Surface Laptop and the Surface Book, you do have a versatility of using it as a tablet as so, and you can flip the kickstand open and have it stand in a like a presentation mode or media consumption mode. It does fold almost all the way to lay down flat, although I don't know if you are gonna lay it flat, then you could just fold the kickstand all the way down. And just as with all tablet-y computers are concerned, so it will do automatic orientation switching as so, and the experience is just really pleasant. And the form factor, when you hold it in your hand, it is substantial enough, and yet it is very light. So before I talk about what I like about this laptop and what I don't much care for, I would just share with you two general feelings. The overall experience using this day to day is very pleasant in terms of that you just have the very premium feel. It is, the fit and finish is just impeccable, and the interface, whether you're using the touch interface or the type cover keyboard with the trackpad, just the whole experience is very, very pleasant and something about very professional about its execution. And then there are days when I really love the 3:2 display ratio. Then there are days that I just don't much care for. I personally love the 16:9, but I know 3:2 is favored by a lot of, let's say, like office workers. When you have web pages or Excel spreadsheet that you're working on, that extra height gives you better, more visibility into the work area you're in. So I get that, but just wanted to share that with you. The Surface type cover keyboard trackpad combination comes in multiple colors, and Surface Pro 6 now comes in this matte black finish, so I got this one. Normally I get the gray Alcantara fabric version of the type cover. Now, as far as the keyboard is concerned, I'm going to tell you something. So outside of the Lenovo ThinkPad keyboard, which is basically legendary for its keyboard feedback and tactile function and everything. That is the de facto standard that all laptop keyboard will be measured up against. And I will hold the Surface type cover keyboard up there with the Lenovo ThinkPads in terms of all-day comfort. It is a remarkably awesome keyboard. The tactile feedback and the travel and the attack, it's just a pleasure to work with this keyboard all day long. What I don't much care for is the trackpad, which is longer. It's wider than it is taller. The way the buttons feel, I mean, it's a solid enough. It's just not something that I personally prefer. That does not mean that the trackpad itself is bad. It is precise. It is accurate and supports gestures. It's great. Now, the palm rest area of the type cover is where you will notice a little bit of issues as you use, prolonged use will create some sort of a palm print. But as far as keyboard itself is concerned, this is one of the things that I love about Surface Pro. Secondly, what I like about this Surface Pro is obviously it's a very versatile form factor. You could carry it around as a tablet with a fully supported touch interface, which is executed very well, and it's very mature in terms of your experience. And then you attach the aforementioned type cover, it becomes a normal laptop and giving you all, if you need to type out something very lengthy, obviously the keyboard comes in handy, while it does not add any bulk to the form factor itself. And when the keyboard is folded over, then it gives you full protection. And as I mentioned earlier, the touchscreen experience is accurate and it's very snappy. It's a real pleasure. Another thing that I love about this laptop, the screen, as I mentioned earlier, very vivid, very vibrant, super bright. It is glossy, so therefore, if you are using it in the direct sunlight, you may have a little bit of an issue. However, I personally prefer the glossy finish on the display. It just gives you more pop. And lastly, what I like about this laptop, I don't know if it's because of the Surface Pro is native Microsoft product or not, but overall, the Windows 10, which by now is very well matured, and the overall experience, the harmony of the Surface Pro hardware with software, which is that of Windows 10, they work seamlessly very well together. It's a real joy. Okay, so now let's discuss a couple points that I don't much care for. So now it's the year 2019 and the bezel shows that the hardware is somewhat dated. As you can see here, it's quite prominent in terms of a bezel's concerned. So however, when you're using it as a tablet mode, you do need a little bit of a bezel to show so that you have something to hold on to without actually touching the touch screen. The second point that I would mention, which I don't much care for, is, like I mentioned earlier, the Surface type cover keyboard is sold separately. And it's not cheap either. It's about $129 for the regular version, and then you have to pony up like $150 for the Alcantara fabric, which adds a little bit more class and it's a little bit more luxurious. Why that has to be sold separately? I don't know. It's like, you buy a car and they sell you the seat separately. I mean, you sort of need it, so it should be included in my opinion. The fact that you have to buy one separately does rub me the wrong way. Lastly, what I don't care about is, like I mentioned earlier, doesn't matter which version you get, the palm rest area will age and start deteriorating. Obviously what is nice is that it is completely detachable, so if you spill something on it, or over the course of normal usage, you have worn it out, then you can simply toss it and go get another one, replace it, and now you have a brand new base. All right, so that sort of sums up what I like and what I don't much care about this Surface Pro 6. Over the multiple generations of its model, the form factor stayed the same. The basic design has stayed the same. Actually, there was a little bit of a change at some point, I believe right before the Surface Pro 4, they changed out the way the air vents, so hardware did go through a little bit of change, but for the most part, it has been unchanged. And as I try to answer the question whether this still deserves room in your backpack or not, my thought is, even though it is a bit old in terms of the overall design, it is a superb execution that stands up to time well, where this still looks very modern, still looks very convenient, and the overall execution and experience is so pleasant that it is one of the more popular options that I provide my personal clients with for those that are Windows centric. The front-facing speakers are pleasant for media consumption, all day long battery with a superb form factor and portability, and the usual suspects as far as specs are concerned, such as Core i5 Kaby Lake, 8 GB of RAM, 256 GB of solid state for about $1,200. I believe it is about 10% more expensive than it really needs to be, or at the $1,200 price point, maybe the type cover should be included. So if you could look past that, this is a very well designed, very well executed, and really pleasant device to work with all day long that indeed deserves room in your backpack or briefcase. Thank you for your time watching. I've been Tech Your Guy. You've been awesome. Until next time, take care.